Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 7's Dark Elves. We're looking at all the teams available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's from the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or the expanded NAF teams, that's Slann Khorne, and we're putting together some of our best Blood Bowl 7's rosters for those teams. So Blood Bowl 7's is a quick play Blood Bowl format, plays on a smaller pitch with smaller teams and smaller player selection. Only 4 of your players can be not linemen, basically. It's a great format. You get going done in about 45 minutes. If you want to know more about 7's, check out our intro video or one of the 2 full seasons of Blood Bowl 7's we've got on our YouTube channel. It is with the old rules, but you'll still get a very good idea of what 7's is and how much fun you can have doing it. Anyway, Dark Elves are a tier 1 team. They've always been a tier 1 team. So let's have a look and see how the new edition shakes them up in Blood Bowl 7's. Okay, so Dark Elves with their strengths and weaknesses. They've got an absolute ton of strengths. Probably the best 2 players on this team, especially for 7's, are the Blitzers and the Witch Elves. So movement 7 are peace, edge 2+. The Blitzers come with block and armor 9+. They've got a ton of skill access, so general and agility. So they're 1 skill away from being movement 7 blodgers, which is fantastic. And the Witch Elves, very similar. Movement 7, they come with some cool skills, dodge being the primary one that's awesome. So movement 7 dodge with edge 2+, and they also have frenzy so that you can just chuck block on them and they become frenzy blodgers. So both of those players are pretty awesome, and most of these rosters are going to be looking at the different builds you can take, whether you go heavy on one or light on the other, and what to do to support them. Now, weaknesses, they are expensive. Dark Elves are expensive. You are not going to be able to get a reroll here without giving up a ton of starting skills by not taking positionals. Passing 3+ at best. So as far as passing's gone, Dark Elves have taken a super nerf. 7's, you tend to find yourself in a little bit of extra space sometimes, which means that cheeky quick pass can be a really important element to your game. So Dark Elves may have lost out ever so slightly there, and Milton doesn't like them. So we've got our local coach Milton, who was on Bash or Dash actually last week. Has run Dark Elves in 7's a couple of times and just cannot get on with them. So I just thought it was important to share. So let's start off with my favourite Dark Elf roster. So the 3BR is 3 Blitzers, 1 Runner, 3 Linemen. That's it. So this roster comes in at 590. All these rosters are under 600. You just need to pad them out with assistant coaches. Do recommend assistant coaches because they are the most impactful when you are trying to score those extra rerolls off the kickoff table. So this roster here has got 3 of the best players in 7's, those Blitzers. The Runner isn't brilliant, but it does allow you to either create a leader caddy. You're tier 1, so you're likely to only get 2, maybe 3 skills. So having access to passing on a general so that you can get that leader reroll for your team can actually be really big. However, if not, what you can do is, because it's movement 7, is just chuck dodge on him. He's got dump off, which has got slightly better in this edition because the opponent has to target him with blitz before they move, so he gets to make that pass at that point. So him having dump off in a 7's pitch is going to be really useful, and a fail case of chucking dodge on him isn't going to be bad. And talking of dodge, just put dodge on the Blitzers. They are fantastic. Okay, movement 7, edge 2+ blodgers become horrible to deal with. They can get out of there or they can get stuck in as well. And the fail case here is your 3 linemen. Now these guys are movement 6, edge 2+, strength 3. They are absolutely fantastic. You could win a game with linemen alone. So this roster, I think, brings some great skills and the potential to sweep in and take that leader reroll on the runner is a really interesting combo. If I only had 2 skills with this roster and the tournament wasn't banning leader on the runner, dodge on a blitzer, job done. Or you can max out at 600k and upgrade one of those blitzers to a witch elf. So 2 BWR, 2 blitzers, 1 witch elf and 1 runner brings you in exactly at 600k when rounded out by 3 linemen. So the advantage of this roster versus the last one is you start with 1 person who has dodge and frenzy. So witch elves, alright, they've got jump up as well. Witch elves give you a slightly different tool set. Now, 3 blitzers is very efficient. Those guys will do what you want them to do. The Witch Elves, where they have Frenzy, and they are weaker when it comes to armor, so adding another armor 8+ piece to your roster, they are going to have to be looked after a little bit. So, where you're tier 1, you're not likely to get any double skills, and doubles are going to be where your guard is at. So when you are striking with your Witch Elf, you're going to have to make sure that she is supported by some people. Otherwise, and quite potentially, she's going to be making 1 die blocks. Now, in the open field, so as a safety or in a way to punch a hole, not while having the ball, the Witch Elf having that Frenzy is going to be really, really useful. You get 2 blocks on the blitz then, essentially, as long as you can put a good support in. So skills-wise, chucking block on the Witch Elf she becomes an absolute force to be reckoned with. The other thing you can consider with the Witch Elf is chucking Wrestle on there, because you get 2 attacks with Frenzy and you've got dodge of 2+, so it gives you a really good opportunity to take down almost anyone you come up against. Especially if you are going to be striking at the ball carrier with the Witch Elf. Obviously that's an ideal situation, and block keeps her safe if you've got the ball, and it just makes it much better if she's just in a general brawl, because she needs to stay standing or she's going to get a massive kick to the head, and with armor 8+, it's going to really hurt. Skills wise, leader and block on the Witch Elf. Anything extra, dodge on the blitzers. And because the Witch Elves are slightly more expensive than the blitzers, you can't quite change all the blitzers for Witch Elves. But what you can do is 1 blitzer and 2 Witch Elves with 4 linemen. This also comes in bang on 600. Now, you are playing the Frenzy game here because 2 of your strikers are Frenzy. You've only got 1 standard block piece. Now, that blitzer is going to be kind of your game manager in this. Extra movement. And you're going to have 2 just incredible players there with the Witch Elves. Movement 7 and dodge means that they're actually going to be able to play a really agile game. The downside here is you don't have the runner. I never thought I'd say that. So you don't have access to leader, basically. So you're going to be doing this without the potential of a reroll, and it's going to be Frenzy, and your passing is going to really suffer here. Blitzers, I think, are passing, but I think everybody here is passing 4+ or 5+. So you're going to not be doing any passing at all, but the fun is you've got 2 Frenzy mad people, and that is always quite entertaining, because with 7s, the teams are smaller, so every piece of attrition, every piece of removal kind of feels like 2. Now, there is a way to get a reroll on a Dark Elf team. All you have to do is give up absolutely everything. So your linemen are 70k and your rerolls are 100, so you can just squeak this roster in at 590. There is no benefit in doing this. Now, unless you just want to show off, because let's face it, Dark Elf linemen are not bad. So you've got this, you've got a reroll, you've got 2 skills, you can just pop block on 2 guys, or 1 block and 1 dodge, and you can just play a really interesting game. The downside is you are giving up so many skills. I think I'd rather have 3 block or dodge, or block and dodge, than a team reroll. Now, this is why I like the runner. The runner I'm not a massive fan of in 11s, but in 7s, where he's got that passing access, you can have 3 blitzers and a runner. Still get that reroll versus this roster, where it is just trying your very hardest with not a lot at all. This is kind of the meme team for this episode. But I'm only saying that because I forgot about this roster. Okay, so we've got Khorne 600. So when we did the big builds for the starting rosters, we definitely looked at the Khorne build. So Khorne is the god of murder. Witch Elves and Assassins love him. Go figure. So 2 Witch Elves, 2 Assassins, 3 linemen, 600k. So what are you doing with this roster? You've got 2 Frenzy pieces that are there just to shed blood, and you've got those Assassins. Now, Assassins, they suffer a little in 7s because there's no line of scrimmage, so you don't get to just deploy them and have a couple of free stabs. What you can do, though, is give one of them Frenzy, and if you blitz with an Assassin, you get to jump in, take a stab, and then take a block. Or is it the other way around? Jump in, take a block, then take a stab. So you can set yourself up with really good opportunities for your Assassins to try and knock somebody down, and if that fails, they can just try and shank them straight off the map. And shadowing is going to help against some of your some of your opponent's spread players. And this is the really cool thing about the Assassins, is if you go and chuck an Assassin on a human catcher, what do? The human catcher's got a little bit more movement than the Assassin, so it's going to have a good shot at getting out of your shadowing, but it's going to have to take a 3+ dodge. So you kind of put this on anybody, and they have to move him, or your Assassin's just going to get free rolled and go on their armor. And when you are playing with 7 players, you've got that spread. Assassins make reasonable safeties. They're not the best. It's not as good as having block. And if you get a skill, you could definitely consider putting a block on the assassin to just kind of have a block stab semi-blitzer there. I like Frenzy. I like the 2 opportunities to just have a go and take somebody out. I also like dodge on these guys because you end up with quite a lot of fast players. So this is an interesting roster. You miss that starting block, but you end up with 2 dodge, and those assassins are actually going to play, I think, a little bit better than you would expect in 7s because of that defensive skill. I know it's boring, but this roster for me is just king. Now, this roster / the one where you upgrade a blitzer to a witch elf, there's a divide. I think I ran this in a show. I can't even remember anymore. I've played 7s with this roster, and I've seen people play 7s with the witch elf roster instead. I like this one. I don't know, just really like it. I like the extra armor. I like the lack of frenzy, means you've got control and you're just basically playing that 2+ agility ground pounder game. Getting dodge on those blitzers just means that they are all independently heroes, which is remarkably good. Now the Witch Elf one gives you a little bit more dodge, I guess, and that frenzy means you do have 2 strikes, so it might be a better roster. This is my favourite. I think the better one potentially is the Witch Elf one, but it is more fragile and you do have to be more careful with it. So it may be that I'm just not that good a Dark Elf player. I'm trying to think which roster Milton ran. I think he ran the Witch Elf one. I think the Witch Elf is always a very alluring piece. I've gone with this because actually the thing about Dark Elves I love is their armor and their agility. And even though the frenzy is really cool, this roster gives you the best ability to just pretend to be the best elves out there. Now, as a high elf player at heart from Warhammer, I can't say that they are the best elves, but they are really good, and I think they will be an absolute powerhouse in 7s, even in this edition where they got a little bit less ability to throw the ball. And also, you know, it's nice to make the runner feel special, isn't it? Good job, runner. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you ever so much for watching. We'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content, so do let us know in the comments what you think about the Dark Elves. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. Anyway, happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.